Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gabrielle with Gabrielle Yafa Coaching Group. Today, we are going through our discussion on Brene Brown's work on men, women, and worthiness. So today, I would like to talk more about the shame routine, specifically part 1, where it involves recognizing that you are in shame. I'd like to repeat why it is important to identify that you are in a shame response. The first part is because we are dangerous to other people who are vulnerable to us when we are in shame. That includes our kids, our spouses, if we're teachers, our students, if we're bosses, our direct reports. Think about all the messages of shame we tended to have. And you'll find out that they were people who were usually in authority over us or to whom we were vulnerable to. Coaches, parents, teachers, bosses. The second reason why is our body does not recognize the difference between emotional trauma and physical trauma. It treats it as if you are going through a traumatic physical experience. And so it is helpful to process and get it out of our bodies, our hearts, and our minds so that we can continue living healthily. Now, going into a shame routine, it is helpful to have a list of things you do once you recognize that you are in shame, to react to the shame healthily, and to resolve it quicker before you go into the other steps in the 4 pillars of shame resilience. The 4 pillars of shame resilience are, number 1, recognizing that you are in shame and realizing what your shame triggers are. For example, your physical symptoms. Are you clammy? Are you upset? Do you feel small? Do you feel like retreating? Or do you feel rage? One helpful thing that I've heard is figure out what age you are. Many times when you are in a shame reaction, you regress back to the age where your first shaming was done. Many people, they just turn into an 8-year-old again with an angry parent yelling at them, or they turn into a 12-year-old where that coach was just really at them and they find themselves unable to speak or defend themselves. Because at that age, you couldn't. You forget that you're an adult now. You're a 50-year-old, you're a 60-year-old, you're a 20-year-old that has the ability to respond. The second thing is to reality check the shame triggers, which is practicing critical awareness, which is bringing your brain, your thinking brain, into the situation and not just working on your instinctual, emotional brain. Third is to reach out and tell your story, ask for help, be vulnerable, find safe people, tell what's going on. And fourth is to speak the shame, calling it shame, recognizing what it is, and you break that dark cycle that it has you in. Now, going through your shame routine, your journey of resolving shame, it is helpful to know how long it's going to take you to resolve shame and perhaps where you need to do it, your location. Because some people are more advanced and can resolve their shame wherever they are. Some people need to move away from the stimulus to resolve it. Some people need to go to a safe place like a home, a bedroom, a closet to do it. I'm going to pull out some of my favorite ways of dealing with shame. You can take from them, you can create your own. I have this saved on my phone as a picture, a favorite picture on my phone, so that anytime I get into shame, I can do these things to help me bring myself down a notch before I start rationalizing and figuring it out. In my case, every time I get activated, Brene Brown calls it activation, which is when I am not at a base place of emotional stability. I have these things that bring me down to a state of calmness. I usually run or do some kind of exercise that causes me to sweat and lose my breath. It has to be vigorous enough that I'm tired. Another thing I do is I sleep. This one, as I grow older, I find it harder to do, mostly because I just don't have the time to take a 1 to 2 hour nap so that I can resolve my emotions. Another one is I have a particular set of music that I can listen to that helps bring my emotions down. Usually it is not weepy, emotional, oh, he did me wrong kind of music. It tends to be more of what I call peaceful music. Everyone has their own kind of music that helps them. Some people like upbeat music, but for me that doesn't work. I need peaceful, meditative kind of music. Another thing is cry. And I love how one of my therapists called it. She said, every time I cry, I shouldn't wipe the tears away because it is telling my body that the tears are welcome here, the emotions are welcome here, and so I don't have to bottle it in. It can come out, take its time, and then flow through me and go. I have mentioned another one. I call it the feral scream. This usually helps me in a pinch. I remember many years ago, I had a very stressful job and there were these Monday morning meetings that they were really difficult for me. And I just had no way to go somewhere and release my stress. And so what I found very useful was to go into my car, roll up my window, go to the edge of the parking lot where no one was there, and do this thing called a feral scream where like from the guts, like horror movie type of screaming. Just one. That usually helped me to take a notch off of my activation series. And then I could work for the rest of the day before I got home and then let go and cried and did some other things. So that works for me in a pinch. Another one, and that's more in part 3, which is talk and vent to safe people. Key word, safe people. People who will not try to fix it, who will listen, who have the time and ability to listen, who can help you reality check things. And I'll talk way more about that in step 3. I would suggest reading Safe People to help you recognize and do tests for people who might be your safe people. I have siblings that are safe people. I now have friends that are safe people. Find your safe people. Another one that helps is meditation. This one, however, is not something you can do if you've never practiced it before. So I always suggest that people learn how to meditate, at least get to the 5-minute mark. If you are able to learn how to meditate, then when you need it, it's a tool that's already ready and sharpened for you. But if you've never meditated and then you're in a really bad spot and you're now trying to deep breathe, many times it doesn't work. For me, I find it very difficult to clear my brain because I have 500 thoughts going on. The meditation that I have learned how to do is body spotting meditation, which is when I close my eyes, then I feel my toes. Then I feel the arch of my foot. Then I feel my ankle. Then I feel my knees. Then I feel my hip. That kind of thing. So I have something that I'm focusing on my body, feeling the sensations, and that clears out all other intrusive thoughts. Another one, which was really good that another therapist gave me, was imagine your safe place. Imagine a place where if you are there are no problems, nothing can intrude. And for me, it's a green place where it's raining. Yes, I'm weird. I love the rain. Rain for me is a very peaceful thing because think agricultural societies, rain is always a blessing from God because it means crops are going to do well. So whenever it's raining, I actually become at peace. And so I'm in a green place, it's raining, I'm outside, and it is just very calm. And I think about my garden, I think about this green place, and I stay there. And that is very helpful when you are still in the presence of the stressor that is causing you to be activated or in a shame response. So when I was going through my stress responses in my very difficult job and in a relationship, I knew that I was going to have continuous stress responses over the next couple of weeks and months. And so I pre-created this memorized it, and then whenever I was in a stress response, looked it up and did. So the first one was find a mantra that you memorize. And it is something that is true for you. It should not have a word like not. So for example, if you are worried about your health, you don't say, I will not be sick. No, you say, I am full of health. You always say what you are and not what you're not, because they claim your subconscious cannot tell the difference between the word no. So it just gets rid of it, and all you hear is I am sick instead of I am not sick. So I have a mantra. So I usually have a lot of biblical mantras that are very meaningful and deep and nostalgic to me, and that I believe very deeply. And so those help calm me down. The second thing I do is I find proof against whatever it is that is activating me, shaming me, or making me afraid. And I memorize them. For example, when I'm in a social situation, I hate this. I'm going to a networking event. I don't know anyone there, and I feel awkward because in my life before I had been shamed many times that I was just weird around people and not good with them. What I do is I remember a couple of social events I had been to before where I met people. Things went well and people said nice things about me. And then I keep that in my mind saying, you're going to meet someone interesting. It's going to be great just like the last time. And when you find that proof, the more you do it, the more you start believing it, the more you start stretching that muscle that lets you feel that, no, it might be weird, but at the same time, it might be very good. So I hope this is very helpful for you, and I hope this will be useful and beneficial to you on your journey through depth and wholeness and open-heartedness. So please link and subscribe to this channel to get notifications when I have new videos. I'm still a work in progress, but I am working on bringing out content for helping out the more, what I call people like me, INTJs, ENTJs, ESTJs, ISTJs, to bring out our warmth, because we do have warmth. It's just not in the way that most people expect it to show up as. So, I am Gabrielle with Gabrielle Yalfa Coaching Group. See you next time.